brain fart there on the name. How are we doing? We're getting ready to go into this third game of the day. BKR coming straight in after a very convincing win over SK Prime. And now they've got to take on Alior, who lost their first game to Desire, our Italian team here in this Group B. We were talking a little bit about the kind of similarities between the way BKR played and how we actually saw Alior being playing that first game where the kind of mid-jungle angle.
Well, actually, I would say there was a similarity on the fact that they had nothing similar. Yes. I feel like they're two teams of a completely different spectrum, right? Alior wants to play a bit more aggressive. They do rely on their mid-jungle duo heavily, especially having a more of a fighter/aggro type of jungler in the pool, in the likes of Adi. On the other side, for BKR, I found their game very calculated, very slow. They played for objectives. Pridestalker did not necessarily need to do much. He was just hovering around. He was covering for his laners wherever they had priority to crushing their waves. He was setting down the vision, and then later on he did his job, which was to engage and create these few fights that we saw towards the end of the game. And the only reason that there were few is because BKR was so ahead that they only needed a few fights to finish it. Now, here, of course, we see a few highlights from Alior team game earlier on today. It left, honestly, a lot to be desired, no pun intended, right here, because it felt like they were playing so misconnected from each other. There were TPs coming in where other members had died, like in this particular one. Many had to TP in and then flash out. There wasn't much mid-jungle synergy, and I'm honestly waiting to see what this mid lane, percentage damage is all about when it comes from Manny. 30% damage share in his team, 39 KDA on an Ari, 100% winner on the Azir. Like, I need to see one of these happening here. You need to shut down Chocolate.
Absolutely. I think that was my main concern coming into this game, was Alior looked quite disconnected, and even SK Prime in their loss looked more connected and on form. And when the group's looking this good already, Alior have some real picking up to do. Now they got to play versus a team who really confidently dispatched SK Prime in that previous game. But right now, as you can see at the top of the table, it's Desire and BKR who are 1-0. SK Prime and AB, unfortunately, a little bit lower down with that 0-1, but only one game's been played each. This is the second time, well, the first time any team in this group will play in a second match of this group. And yeah, I think Alior they have some stuff to do, because we talked about this at the beginning of the day, but remember, our Polish representatives yesterday didn't have a great day. They went 1-2. So it's on Alior, who are the second seed coming in from the Ultra Liga, to show us what they're made of, to make sure that there's some pride restored for their region. They do not also want to be having a 1-2 or even a 0-3 day to start it all off.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, a full Polish team as well coming in from Alior. We know what a huge pool of talent in general the Ultra Liga has been in terms of bleeding talent straight into the LEC, and how well this talent does, especially when you hit the LEC stage as well, right? So it would be a huge blow to not see Ultra Liga teams just move forward to quarterfinals. For the past few years, it has been a struggle for the teams to make it past groups, and right here, they need to showcase it. They need to put the foot down, because if you do beat BKR, who's one of the big bosses in this particular group, then you have a pretty good foot in walking into day 2.
Absolutely, yeah. It's rough, but it's definitely not like an insurmountable thing for them to do. But we are getting ready as we're heading into Champ Select for our third game of the day. BKR once again will be on that blue side, while Alior will be moving over to the red side. Let's see what this does and changes for these Champ Select. BKR, honestly, they could look to try and just replicate what they did in that previous game. That Amumu, genuinely quite scary, and it's weird because it didn't do a lot early. It was just like Pridestalker was just grabbing like every objective he could, and then late game he just showed up and just hit those 3-4 man ultimates, and his team would just capitalize on it. So maybe something that Alior need to think about on that ban phase. But I do respect the Tristana ban. Chocolate looked way too good on that.
Yeah, you know what? The Tristana ban, I think, was mandatory right here, especially when BKR have the first pick, and they did be wanted in the previous one over Rel or any Kaisas or any of that sort. But also, one of the main champions of many is that Azir, and it's also the most played champion from the side of Chocolate as well when it comes to the playoffs run over in the LFL. So this pick could technically be contested. Kaisa could go onto the top priority right now, as well as Rel. We'll see what BKR choose to go for right here. Poppy has been one of the primary bans in general for a lot of teams. This is so helpful into shutting down a lot of engaged coming in from champions currently. Now, Jace, another AD mid laner taken away from the hands of Chocolate. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think my memory fails me right here, but I don't think he has another AD champion in the pool. So maybe this is the last one we'll see from mid lane currently.
That's when they banned like Yasuo here or something, just to like really trim that
no
AD
way.
Ain't no way. I don't think Checkerlad's going to be pulling that one out. We'll see what they do decide to ban, because things like the Rumble and the Rel are still up and available.
Yeah.
And I feel like there may just be a handshake on that, or they do ban the Amumus. Yeah, I'm expecting a potential handshake on that, because if BK Rogue don't take one of those, and Matix and Addy get their hands on the Rel Rumble combination, I mean, that's scary. Checkerlad is going to take the Azir, but there's a scary little combo that could get picked up here by Alior Bank if they want to go that Rumble Rel route.
So Azir is the most played champion for Chocolate in the LFL playoffs. This guy has the highest damage percentage with 31.2% in his team. He does so much for them. We saw it in the previous game as well. I'm expecting that many will try to hit back with something that he's also pretty proficient on, which is the Ari. He has huge KDA over multiple games onto this champion. I'm expecting to see a more active mid jungle duo to try and shut down Chocolate in the mid lane onto the Azir before he takes off into the late game. Of course, Zyra Khan, a very potent duo in engage and disengage, playing aggro in the bot lane as well. So that's a pretty good step towards that bot lane for AB. But I'm mainly focused around that mid jungle, what they're gonna choose to put against the Azir.
It's interesting because I talked quite a lot about the Rumble Roll, but it feels like maybe BKR just don't feel the need for it. They'd rather pick up things that they can confidently pilot. They're picking the Alistair up here for Vinoram. He had an amazing game one on it.
Please no.
I very much doubt we're going to see the Corki bot lane here from Trigger. Was hovering the Zeri a little bit earlier. Is a very playable option for them, but I think they're actually waiting to see where the cookies crumble, and they're just going to look to pick up the Sejuani here for Pride Stalker, which now for me leans for like either you pick a mid laner up here to answer Chocolate in the mid lane, or you pick up a jungler to answer Pride Stalker, and the other one is going to get banned away. I mean, Corki's an old school matchup into the Azir. I haven't seen it for a hot minute though.
I mean, honestly, a pretty good reply is also Xerath. He outranges Azir, and you can also poke people out of the fight before the fight even begins, right? But Addy right here, again, with a more of a fighter, aggro-like champion in the jungle in terms of Wukong, again, would have to wait and see the pairing with the Wukong. The likes of Syndra, LeBlanc, and Ari do pretty well together with the Wukong. Now, a little bit of an asterisk right here. We saw Lurox pilot the Wukong in the previous one, and due to the fact of how well Chocolate was doing in the mid lane, that Wukong never took off. The 2 versus 2 never took off. So I'm expecting to see something very strong and potent in the mid lane for many to try and shut down Chocolate off the get-go.
Alrighty, well, going into that ban phase 2, the Kai'Sa are going to get taken away here. Kind of understandable. They do look to ban that away, and I'm expecting even more of an AD pinch here from the side of AB, but I think for the side of BK Rogue, probably just going to be looking to ban away even more mid laners. The question is what is this next ban going to look like? We've seen things like the Varus as well kind of show up every now and then. I don't know if Varus is overly pickable because I guess AP and AD is fine, to be fair, but we'll see what they do decide to go for, as I'm trying to wrap my brain on what they're going to pick away. The Zeri and the Kai'Sa, pretty standard bans there. Pretty strong champions getting denied, and over to the side of BK Rogue.
You could ban something like the Xerath right here. I think it's one of the other champions that Azir does really struggle into, and you do have a lot of lockdown with the Wukong and the Rakan to sort of allow Xerath for free firing. It is going to be the Annie, another form of engage, if you will. On the other hand side, there are AD carries up and available that can play towards the later stages of the game, such as the Aphelios. You have the front line. You can also play things like the Kalista if you so wish, especially since you have Alistar, you have Sejuani, you have Azir creating a lot of space for you, and go for a little bit more of an aggro bot lane, if you will. Syndra locked in was one of the choices that we did mention as well. Play a little bit more aggressive in the mid lane. I want to see Addy and many on this mid jungle duo sort of shut down Azir and Sejuani, which are not technically picked together to play a little bit more aggro. They're more of a later on team fighting compositions, but we did see BK Rogue go towards these tendencies where they want to play for that late game, play for the front to back.
Absolutely. Well, looking in the Ezreal here for Trigger, now looking towards what is going to be their top laner for Howling. We've seen a blind pick Renekton every game today so far on the blue side. Could be an avenue they want to go down, but there are obviously other avenues and options available to them if they decide to go. They could just go for a full-on tank and just play through Trigger and Checkerlad as their carries and just have like a big meat shield in front of the pair of them. Or you lock a Jax in and you give yourself a split push win condition on top of that as well. Obviously, still very capable of team fighting. It's not like a thing like the Fiora, who kind of struggles in those team fights. Jax can get in there, land that big counter strike, and absolutely just obliterate a team off the back of that one.
Hit him with the rise. Kin has paved the way of the AP top lane, and right here you do have AD jungle and AD in the bot lane. It's gonna be the Cassante, of course, a little bit more traditional when it comes to having a tank top lane. I feel like this composition from AB makes a lot more sense. You do have an active mid jungle duo in the terms of Syndra and Wukong, but you also have scaling possibilities later on with the Xayah. You've got engage, you've got a bunch of disengage, you've got outplay potential with the likes of the Cassante as well. So it's very well formed in terms of a draft, but how are you going to pair up to BK Rogue, who also have a draft that wants to scale into the late game, and they have showcased on the Rift how slow and patient they can be when they have to, especially in the game versus SK Prime.
Absolutely, but I mean, I'm preferring this draft right now for Alior Bank than we had in game number 1. I think they've given themselves a little bit more tools. I mean, the Xayah Rakan is a very, very solid bot lane duo. I mean, obviously, they were made together for a reason, right? But, you know, it's very rare you actually see, especially in a competitive game, the pair of them go together. Normally, if one gets picked, the other one's denied or banned in the next phase. But they were able to get their hands on it instantly off the back of the start of this game, and we'll see if they're going to make that work, because they prioritize this bot lane over the others. But I think I'm scared. I think I'm scared because obviously Checkerlad's got his hands onto the Azir. He is the carry for his team. I mean, in that last game, you saw how much damage he did. You also raised the stat of how much damage percentage he does for his team on average. And this is his best champion. This is the champion who he performed best on during the...
Okay, as we're going into the Rift, second game for both teams in Group B. Yes, thank you very much, production. I said it correctly because I'll be getting it wrong all day. It's Group B that we're doing today. BK Rogue versus Alior Bank. Ultra Liga second seed versus LFL's second seed. And honestly, both teams right here, a very normal line of scrimmage, I would say. You're just covering pretty much every exit or entry into the jungle. Checkerlad also put a ward towards the Wraiths in the previous game, sorry, towards the Raptors. They've changed now.
Yeah.
In the previous game, and they're looking for Adi. They're spotting him towards that top side of the map. They're going to drop down a ward. No sweeper means that this ward is going to stay. So we'll see if Adi chooses to stay spotted right there and go towards a full clear, which is something that typically Sejuani is also used to do a lot in the current meta, and just play a very slow calculated game until at level 6.
Oh, we'll have to find out, but for now, I'm just going to see, like we said, that pretty standard line of scrimmage. No real actions, especially, I don't expect much from BK Rogue at level 1. They have an Alistair, so may just get that walk-up pulverize off, but not really going to have any serious follow-up off the back of that one.
Yeah, he actually did. Small trade went on in the bot lane, just to repand off the cover off of them. But again, a big, major point. There you go, another one.
I've never seen an Alistair do so much at level 1. He got 2 pulverizers off.
You know what? I thought my champion was useless level 1, but I feel like Alistair is up there, you know?
I mean, he is the king of being bad at level 1, Alistair, unfortunately. But, you know, very useful once you hit level 2 and you can do that one. Gets the headbutt pole off immediately, though. Trigger, he's just taking so much counterfire in response. Is going to be able to get a bit of damage back out with his Q on the tail end. But ultimately, BK Rogue are the ones losing this early trade. The health bar exchange definitely more in favor of the side of BKR. Level 2 has now broken out for Alior Bank, and they pick this bot lane. They are making it work. They are down in farm at the moment.
Yeah, and as we see right here, both of these junglers have chosen to full clear from the top side to their bot side. Pretty standard for these days, if you will. Usually you get most of your action from the top lane. Oh my god.
Oh, that was scary.
Yeah, I was just about to say, usually these days you see a lot of scaling AD carries towards the bot lane, Zaya, Ezreal, you know, you get a lot of Zeris currently, a lot of Kaisas. So you get most of your action through the top lane when the top laners decide to interact with each other. Svens?
They're going to get some damage down there, but Venogram actually very, very low. They get the heal off as well. Trigger has to flash away. But he's not the one flashing away. He's holding it, and the Arcane Shift comes in, but BKR having a really, really rough time bot side. Pride Stalker, I believe, was actually spotted out by the Scryer there, used by Addy. So AB are going to be very much aware of that one, as Pride Stalker trying to contest out on this Rift, on this Crab, is able to pick that one up. Addy was sad.
That was daylight robbery right there from Addy. He had mid lane walking first. Many actually was about to drop the wave to go to his aid. You had bot lane having priority, but didn't move from the bot lane. But they are chasing Trigger down the bot lane. Doesn't have heal. He does have the flash. He's going to use it right there to get away from harm's way. But I feel like the bot lane from BKR, even though we commended them in being patient, they have been actually the opposite in this particular one. As an Ezreal, you don't necessarily win too many trades early on. Zaya Rakan, you get the double attack speed onto the Rakan as well. They can really trade on you. And Venogram and Trigger have been a little bit too over-eager towards the bot lane. Lost them a couple of CS right there. And the trades.
Yeah, he's going to be able to catch some of this farm back here for Trigger. And actually, ultimately, you know, farm lead quite comfortable for him as Matix here on the top side, after losing that pretty rough fight early, is taking another lost fight as Howling able to get so much damage down onto him. Matix, he's struggling. He's really struggling up here. Addy is in the area though, so maybe we'll see Addy come over and pay a little bit of space buying, a little bit of breathing room for Matix, who's once again jumped onto. It's the QW, man. He just lands it every time, and with that grass proc, absolutely just ripping the health bar away from Matix. And Pride Stalker, he thought something was up, so he was going to come up to his top side just to cover. He's going to spot out this ward, and Howling should get the information, but he's nice to save. Zvins actually goes for the flash away to safety. They are going to find some response, though. A lot of damage comes down onto Mindmech. Able to get himself away from now. They are looking to make a play up in the top side. Down goes the top laner. First blood over to Howling. Gets onto Addy. Addy's pinned in place. Double kill for Pride Stalker.
Oh my god. Pride Stalker was not covering the push. He was setting up for a dive. Howling has been doing fantastically over in the top lane. You know how we talked about a lot of the teams grabbing a Korean AD carry, pairing it up with a Korean top lane? Well, it's been working wonders for Wildcats, but it's also been working wonders for BKR, because Howling plays his matchups in the top lane so well. You see that he's chipping away over and over again. That Cassandra's a speed bar. Pride Stalker sees the opportunity to have a full wave underneath the tower. No level 6 for the Cassandra to get away. The counter-strike also lands. Hop, skip, jump, and by the time Addy's there, it's too little too late. Level 6 already onto the Jax to get the extra defenses from the ultimate. Wukong cannot do nothing level 4 into Sejuani and Jax.
Absolutely not. I mean, just huge stuff coming in from BKR. It feels a little bit like they're carrying that momentum from that last game straight through into this game. Alior Bank fresh off a loss as well. They've got a lot of kind of mental strength in them right now. They are pushing forwards. Many gets shuffled back. In comes Pride Stalker, and Shekelad, he's going to be denied the kill. That's a killing spree, Sejuani. 3 kills over to Pride Stalker. He is going to be very tanky very quickly.
Yep, 6 minutes, 1.3k gold up. My god, the entire gold lead is laying towards that top side of the map. Again, we talked about it a little bit. When you have 2 scaling AD carries, usually most of the action is going to come towards the top side of the map. And Pride Stalker making sure to get that Jax ahead in the early game. Now, you do have also a very good split pushing position with the Jax getting up ahead in the early game. Later on, he's going to be even more of a menace to deal with, and you're going to need at least 2 people to try and shut him down, whilst Shekelad is still making plays in the mid lane. It has been so difficult to shut this guy down in the mid lane. And again, a mid-jungle duo for the Ultra Liga team is kind of falling apart.
Absolutely. And Pride Stalker goes back to base. First item finished at 7.5 minutes. Got that Sunfire Cape. Obviously a relatively cheap item, so not a major thing, but like him having a full item already is really scary, because now he's going to start working towards his mythic. And yeah, maybe you'd like it if Howling had got those 2 kills. Maybe you'd like it if Checklight had got that kill as well. But ultimately, what Pride Stalker has done has still bought his players and his solo laners an advantage. There's a 1,300 gold lead for Howling. He's so comfortable that he could just walk up into Addy's face, try and get a bit of a... yeah, that is... I mean, Addy's going to get jumped onto here. No, Howling's not going to do that. Okay.
And of course, good enough for him. He got the smite down, which means the level up came through, and he got that level 6, which means he wasn't that threatened by Howling, and Howling had to hop, skip, and jump away onto the ward over the wall. Pride Stalker having these 2 strong solo laners with the Azir and with the Jax in the top lane, he's more than happy to start that Rift Herald completely uncontested towards the top side of the map. Now, of course, Addy, he does have that ultimate. He does have the flash. He needs to look for something. Pride Stalker, again, looking towards the top side of the map. There is flash this time onto Matix, and there is also the ultimate. Let's see. They're going to pop in the Rift Herald. No, they're going to go for the gank.
No, they're going to go for the dive. You can Herald later. You can kill now. Down he goes. Howling secures himself his first kill. As Pride Stalker, he's not even going to Herald. He knows that Howling's going to be A-okay. He's going to make sure as much of that solo plate gold goes over to him. Addy, though, coming in on a long flank behind BK Rogue. The feathers just got pulled back by Sven, so needs to be a little bit careful. So they are going to jump in on Venom, able to try and get himself the bot back. Addy going to keep that pressure up, chasing forwards. They have force triggered to flash already. Venom actually gets Addy underneath the tower. He takes that tower shot, but with the bonk, able to secure the kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Many has to flash away from Shekelad, who almost catches him with the ultimate. Very, very close exchange in the mid lane.
Lots of skirmishes happening around the map, but the most important ones that they get triggered down. This Ezreal has been free farming the entire time. And let's see this one again. You will see that we said Addy does have the ultimate. He does have the flash. He needs to get something going right here. Of course, Mind Magic is going to be getting caught first right here. So he's going to die to the to the Ezreal ultimate. Zaya does have the ult, does have the cleanse, and Addy sneaking behind an enemy territory, does have the flash, does have the ultimate. He's going to look for a entry right here. The heal is going to come through from Trigger to try and get these HP bars as up as possible, but it's not going to be the case. Venom, he had a pretty good sight on what he wanted to do right there, and had the Ezreal Q hit, maybe we would be talking for potential kill, but that wasn't the case. So finally, the Ultra Liga team hits back.
Absolutely huge there for the side of the Ultra Liga team, getting that 1 kill, but the problem is there's still 5 on the other side, 3 of which are sitting on Pride Stalker. So if they can find him isolated at some point in the jungle, there is an opportunity to get some gold. But when all your lanes have got so much pressure,
what in the world?
It's impossible. And Howling, he's going to make sure that Matrix is actually just going to get taken away. Jumps forwards into him. There's the ultimate pop to AD coming in as well. But Matix burnt ultimate there. Howling's going to get this tower with plates as well. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, that is a beautiful engage coming in, and Venom comes in on the back line. Sven's able to flash away to safety. They get a kill top lane onto Howling, 1 versus 2. He gets the solo tower plates as well. First tower blood over to him. Pride Stalker now chasing in, and that is going to be 1 dead support. Shuffling forwards here for Shekelad. Does have the ultimate up in a few seconds, but not yet. This game is crumbling.
Hold on a second.
Alior Bank.
Howling killed the jungler. He was 1v1 in the top laner, and he ended up killing the jungler. Howling has had a hell of a game. 3,300 gold up on the Jax. Who stops him now? Everywhere the Jax is going to be absorbing so much pressure. The TPs are going to be coming in. Many's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it looks like Many's in on the run, but he's getting slowly but surely whittled down. There he falls, Pride Stalker. Remember, he's worth a shutdown. They're going to be able to pick it up, but at what cost? He's going to lose his life. And that's a kill over to the Alistair, so maybe a little bit worth.
Wow. Okay, so you do get the shutdown on the Wukong. This could be huge. 350 extra gold going to the Wukong. He is a fighter. He wants to have these extra juicy items to try and get straight into that backline and possibly assassinate the likes of an Ezreal or an Azir. Super worth right there. You do lose a second one, but at this point you have to take it 2 levels apart right here. How is this going to run Maddox down? Well, It wasn't a big of a run. Howling has had a killer of a game so far. 3.4 thousand gold. Every time Matix walks up, he ends up going straight back to the fountain on a black and white screen. And if we see this replay again, actually, you'll see that they see Manny onto a ward. It was a control ward. We see it in the bush, trying to clear it out. Adi was nowhere to be found at that point, so Manny ends up going down to Jekyll, but Pridestalker has a pretty juicy shutdown, and Adi's gonna cash that one in. They're gonna lose both. Maybe this shutdown onto the Wukong could prove extremely worthy when it comes to maybe shutting down a Jax onto a side lane. Okay, we have lost hit right here, so I will be your play-by-play for the time being. Wait, do I have my play-by-play back?
I'm back.
Okay, there we go.
Trigger's actually just getting away with murder here. Able to take a Rift Herald off the back of that as well. Well, sorry, take a Rift Herald, take a tower, take 2 towers. A big injection to cash into Trigger, who's, you know, had a very scrappy and a very touchy early game. He is now incredibly strong. Double Trinity Force picked up for the side of a BK Rogue, and they got the crown, which was the only reason Shekelad survived that jump on the mid lane. Well, you know, sorry, he's only just finished that crown up, but was able to survive regardless. Now going to be even harder to pick up due to him having that crown.
Yep.
This game is scary right now for the Ultra Liga. They are down 8,000 gold at 14 minutes.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Howling. 4 members are hunting you right now. They want you dead. 350 gold juicy bounty onto his head as well. 3-0 Jax, 3.3k gold up. I can tell you right here, right now, that even if he gets 1v4, he kills one. And this one's probably going to be the Rakan, because he's about 5 levels down to the Jax. So he's extremely squishy, not enough defenses, just has a giant spell in the inventory. Pretty squishy. Does have the stopwards maybe to survive a little bit further, but they're not going to attempt anything on that matter. And AB just... They just need to do something. I don't know if you've seen the meme with the little stick man who's holding a stick and he's poking something on the floor. He's like, come on, do something. That's how I feel like when I'm watching AB play. I feel like they're a little bit lost in the way they want to play the game. And BK so far have entered every single game having a plan and executing it to a T. This particular one, the plan was, hey, we're locking in Sejuani together with the Jax. Perfect. Melee for our Sejuani. We'll play towards the top side of the map. Double kill early on. Snowball it through. Howling has not let go. He's looking for Maddox again.
Oh, no. He's going to be able to survive that one. Use the W lovely, but Howling got himself that tower. They've taken all of the outer towers in both side lanes and inner, and still haven't been able to take a mid lane tower. They're going to now turn their attention towards the mid lane.
That's a 10,000 gold lead 15 minutes in.
Oh, it's so bad. They've lost 2 towers bot, 2 towers top, and now they're about to lose potentially 2 towers. Oh, Manny. Regardless of towers, they are losing members left, right, and center. And he's going to go in for a desperation play. That do something's happened. They listen to you. Trigger's going to get jumped onto. Eddie gets over the wall, able to find himself the kill with the smite. Matrix, though, in some danger. Howling low HP. Addy also in danger. Shekelad's coming in, though. Shut down onto Addy. This is a huge fight here for Alior Bank. Can Shekelad make it work? Can he find a room to breathe for his team? Manik getting jumped onto. A lot of damage thrown in onto him. Shekelad's just playing survival. They jump in, they get onto the pig. Matix jumps forward, but they're taking a lot of passive damage here from the Azir. Shekelad, he has that ultimate. He's waiting for the opportunity to shuffle forwards. Dodges away on the blade caller. Manny has now rejoined in. The tower goes down. Shekelad has to pull off a 1v3. Flashes forward, tries to get the pop back, unable to connect it. It's still going for the chase, still going for the kills. Manix is going low. Can he find these kills? Shekelad finds himself one. The scatter comes down, finally falls. That was an absolute cluster of a fight, and somehow AB come out on top.
Honestly, huge fight from AB. We wanted them to do something, pick out a skirmish. Remember, Addy cashed in on the shutdown from Pridestalker earlier on, around 14 minutes into the game. He's used that money. Getting items on the Wukong is of pivotal importance if you want to be useful as a Wukong in the game. Slides into the backline, assassinates Trigger, like we mentioned earlier as well. Having these extra items really helps getting all of these squishy targets, sticking on them and assassinating them. And I think this was a lot more bounty cash that they were able to get in. They killed Howling. I'm pretty sure it was also Addy that kills Howling. And let's see this one more time. Trigger a little bit too far forward for comfort, gets flanked from two different sides, but look at the Wukong. He'll get through with the blast cone, assassinate Trigger, and now it's Howling. Howling is pretty low on HP, level 12 to level 9 on the Wukong, but he's burning onto the Ignite right there, and Addy is gonna get another shutdown, and that was so well played by them. As you see, AB are gonna slow down the pace right here. They're gonna allow BK Rogue to get towards that top side of the map because they know that Manny spawns in 7 seconds and has TP to rejoin them. So they'll play a little bit more aggressive towards Bright Stalker, who's isolated by his team. And while Chocolate is chipping away, Manny does have time to respawn again and get back onto this fight. And this is where it goes even better from AB. They're gonna catch Chocolate, take his blast. That Trusha Barras doesn't kill anyone. And Chocolate, yes, he gets one, but everyone else dies.
It was such a clustered fight there from BKR. I think they just felt way further ahead than they were. I mean, they were far ahead, but maybe they just bit off a little bit too much. A very scattered fight. And had Chocolate been there at the beginning, that could have just been an absolute ace, an easy ace. But they were a bit too scattered. They're losing members left, right, and center. And it's kind of that old kung fu movie style where the bad guys come at the hero one after the other and just fall one at a time. As Trigger will be able to take this tower. That's all of the towers outside of the base. So the silver lining right now for AB is they can't lose any more towers outside the base.
Yeah. The one shining light here is that Addy has purchased the Black Cleaver that helps Zaya a ton as well. As Zaya that's fallen 3k down to their counterpart right now. Shredding that armor means that Zaya will be able to put a little bit more pain towards these targets. They're chasing the Howling. He's the target now.
Yeah, Howling on the run. He should be able to survive this, though. Not going to be any real threat. He just goes back, grabs himself the last of that wave. And it's an Ocean Soul as well, so expect to see, you know, there's plenty of honey fruits about on the map, which means, you know, if you do get poked out a little bit like that, the sustain should be there. Howling goes back, grabs himself, was building towards that Zhonya's Hourglass with the Fiendish Codex and the Seeker's Arm Guard under his belt. The question is what can AB do?
I feel like they need to pick up a scrappy fight again like they did.
Yeah.
They were 10k behind, then it became 8, now it's 9 again. It's a really tough game to play, especially when the Jax is almost 5k gold up in the top lane. Cassandra doesn't even have an item and Jax has 2.5. They have caught Addy.
Oh! I mean, that was the clone, but that was a taster of what Trigger can do. Disgusting amount of damage. He hasn't even finished up the Muramana yet. Still got a few more stacks to go on that bad boy. Terrifyingly strong on the Ezreal. He's 3k gold up, though, onto Sven's right now. You've got a 5,000 gold lead onto Howling versus Matix. I mean, the gold's where you want it, right?
Yeah, Matix just finished his first item. 21 minutes into the game. They will start the Baron right here. Matix does have the TP if he wants to join, but so does Howling. But I think it's better if you keep Howling right out of this Vayne Orb.
Yeah, they're just getting a bit of damage off Vaynorim, trying to buy some space here for his team. Brightstalker jumps in, gets himself a lockdown onto Maname. Not able to really do too much more here, but Checkerlad's unanswered. Forces Svens to go for the ultimate just to get away from that one. And they achieved what they needed. They got some of the spells out. They got a lot of ultimates burned. They can go back, heal up. Like I said, it's an Ocean Soul map, so there's plenty of honey fruits up and available for them to heal themselves back up. And Checkerlad may find himself in a little bit of danger. Is going to put his tower up, though, so Addy, this is going to have to be a tower dive for us.
Three men.
Health Azir. Is he going to be able to hold on? He's got the ultimate coming up in just a few seconds' time. Shuffles back 2 members. Beautifully played by Checkerlad as he's chasing onto Addy. 1 versus 3. Just absolutely claps them. Howling comes in and secures a second, and that's Baron.
Checkerlad has been an absolute monster back-to-back games. Howling is going to finish the job in the top. Let's get as well 6-1-3, 5.7k gold lead over his counterpart and a Baron for BK Rogue. And if the previous game was very clean, calm, slow, calculated, this one is pure chaos. They took that advantage in the early game and they've been running with it.
I think the thing that impresses me most here is the fact that this game is chaos and they're still really far ahead. They want a cool calculated game, and now they've had a game where a bit more chaos has been introduced, and while they've matched that chaos, it's not overtaken them. It's been absolutely amazing. And Shekelad, beautiful shuffle here.
Oh my god, of course. With the changes to Rakan a long time ago, you cannot ult and flash instantly. So, Man Magic presses the ult, flashes through him by that time. Shekelad was gone from that position. Absolute outplay right there from the Polish mid laner. What a fantastic play for him. Manages to get out. They kill 2 in the end as well. Baron for themselves. 2 lanes of pressure currently for them.
Oh my word.
Jax is jaxing.
It looks like they're jumping in. Massive 3-man lockdown and an absolute obliteration of the health bars onto the side of AB. Howling launches in, locking 3 people down, but it is done. The base is in tatters. BKR are going to be able to take everything, and there is nothing Alior Bank can do about it. They've lost 2 inhibitors. The towers will now be sieged onto. Double Triforces, double Sheen procs onto all of these towers as out goes the birdies. Vens is boxed down, finished up. Addy will be next to follow. Matix just about survives as he gets to the fountain to safety, but down goes the tower, down goes the Nexus. 23 minutes on the clock, make that 24. An absolutely disgustingly one-sided game from BKR.
7,000 gold lead is what Howling ended this game with. 7,000 on the Jax. He had 2.5 items while his counterpart was just finishing his first. What an absolute stomp. I'm glad we saw both phases from BK ROG, because the first game, I'm like, okay, they're against the SK Prime. You need to respect they're coming in as the favorites at the 2nd seed of the LFL, right? So the fact that they actually played so freaking aggressive in this game and showing both sides of the coin on how they can play and how they can take the leads was absolutely mind-blowing. Also, Pride Stalker didn't need to do anything in game 1. In game 2, he was absolutely everywhere on that Sejuani.
Yeah, I said it in the just before that game ended, but what really impressed me is the fact that, like, they had 2 games where they really, really got ahead by like a massive gap. And they were very different games, very, very different games. And they still looked really, really solid on those. So, I mean, I've got to give a big shout out, though, to BK ROG. And they are looking like right now the top contenders in their team. Obviously, when they play versus Desire, that's where it's going to be real spicy, because Desire looks scary. But anyway, we actually have an interview ready with Pride Stalker. So, Pride, how are you doing, mate? You all right?
Oh yeah, I'm good. Very good after the first 2 games indeed. I was kind of surprised by how fast the first one went against SK, because I thought they were going to be pretty good, but yeah, feeling happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 very, very stompy games. Obviously, later on in the day, you got to take on Desire, who did beat out Alior Bank, as well in that first game. How are you guys feeling about that? Do you think it's going to be another like 20 minutes stomper? We got like 9k gold. Do you think genuinely this Italian org looked like quite a challenging team?
I mean, if I'm going to be really honest, I don't even know who's in their team. So I think it's going to be a quick win as well, just like the other 2. And yeah, that's about it.
Pride Stalker, I remember you in your time in Prime League with all the Rengars and the Canes, the very aggressive kind of champions, the more carry-oriented. Now going back to BK ROG, when you have so many players that can carry, how do you sort of distribute who gets to carry each game and who gets their pick of choice?
Yeah, so in this team, since all my laners are like really, really good, I'm just sitting here playing tanks, because that's kind of the meta now, right? And if the situation like occurs, then I'll pick a carry champ every now and then. But usually it's just better to have a tank on jungle. So we tend to go with that. But we're versatile. We can do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are tearing it apart. In the first game, you showed us a more, I would assume, slow and calculated game, showing a lot of respect as well to SK Prime. In the second one, it was a little bit more snowbally. Now, I want to ask you, who do you think are your main competitors when you come into this EMEA Masters? Because like the obvious answers is KC, Wildcats, you know, SK Prime. Do you have another team that you feel like can take it all the way to the finals?
I think, to be honest, I thought that SK was going to be pretty good. And K-Corp, like you said. Aside from that, maybe GO, they might bounce back. Because when we played them in LFL, they were not like as good in the best of 5 we played against them. But I think they're a really good team and they might do a comeback. So that's about it.
Awesome. Well, Prize Soccer, thank you very much for speaking to us, and congratulations on 2 very, very dominant games. And good luck for your games coming up for the rest of the day. We'll speak to you later, all right?
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the interview. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
You too, mate. See you later. Honestly, BKR are looking really, really scary. I'm genuinely excited to see them play versus Desire later on in the day. Because I feel like these, like, I want to know if it was a fluke. I really want to know if it was a fluke or if the Italian teams are here to play. Because keep in mind, KC lost to Matchco yesterday.
Yep. Maybe it's the way it's gonna go, right? LFL teams are gonna be losing to PG Nuts. But what's really hype coming up, what I'm gonna be having my eyes peeled on, is the top laners. Howling versus Epiros. They both like to play a brawly style. You saw that Howling, you put him up ahead, he snowballs to a 6 to a 7k gold lead in the top lane. Epiros plays an Adam-esque type of game. He likes to play aggro. We saw him level 1 into enemy territory, chasing out the jungler. So I'd love to see how ROG actually choose to deal with this one. If we're gonna have a bunch of bans towards the top side of the map, and most importantly, even if you manage to stop Howling, who in the world stops Chocolate? Because he's had 2 banger games back to back.
It's honestly been just so solid. I mean, you called it. The Aziz, one of his best champions, and what a time to bring it up as well.
Oh,
just
God.
gets this 2-man shuffle, able to avoid all of the damage, turns the fight 1 versus 3, and then at which point, Howling turns in with a teleport, takes a 2nd kill as well. Chocolate looked unbelievably disgusting here, but I mean, Howling, he was having the game of his life. He looked so crisp on the Jax. Really solid stuff across the board, and yeah, I think the most interesting thing is we haven't had a tank top laner today. Everyone's been playing things that are a little bit more scrappy, a little bit more brawly. I love these ERL tops, man. Top lane's not dead. Top lane's still fun and exciting.
You know what's really funny? When you see the AD carries not necessarily reaching the numbers that you think they should have towards the late game, that means that the game did not go on for long enough for them to start ramping up, right? Of course, Ezreal buffers a lot of the numbers because he does have a lot of poke in his kit, but 20.3k damage onto the Jax. What an absolutely killer of a performance. And honestly, ROG look really good. And that's only the 2nd seed coming out of the LFL. Now, of course, there are a lot more games coming through, and SK Prime has probably not said the last word yet. You heard Lurix, he said, hey, it was just a fluke, you know, we just lost the first game, we put it behind us, we go on, and they are coming as the favorites in this particular group, so we have to wait and see the rest of the day how it's going to go for SK Prime too.
And we're only halfway through. We still got 3 more games to go. And coming up after the break, we are going to have SK Prime versus Desire. So that's going to be an absolute banger. We'll be back after that one, so see you in a moment.